I met my dear friend at the playground of Adams Elementary School when I was in the 5th grade. That winter, he invited me over to his house for his first birthday party. And so I went along with the other boys in my class, and being boys, we decided to have a snowball fight before we went inside. My friend and I crouched beneath this fort that we built with newly minted snowballs at our feet, when suddenly we decided to stand up and pummel our opponents. We stood up, and just as we stood up, wham! I get hit with a snowball directly in the eye. I got the best black eye you've ever seen. The boys in my class were envious. My mother was horrified, and my friend said, "Wow, wounded in battle." In junior high and high school, my friend and I did many things together. We hunted, we golfed, we attended classes together. We were a unique us. And later on in college, I went into business and engineering, and my friend went into music and the law. And after that, both of us got out of college and got married, and our families remained close. And when my first wife, Georgia, was dying of leukemia, my friend John Hatling and his wife, Kathy, Maren's parents, comforted me. And when Georgia died, John and Kathy consoled me. And later on, when I'd sufficiently recovered, they introduced me to Jane Daly, who would eventually become my second wife and the mother of my 5-year-old daughter, Elizabeth, now Pastor Liz, and who would give me a second daughter, Anne. And now both have families of their own. Now, my friend John Hatling cannot physically be with us tonight because he passed away some number of years ago. But I feel since I was his friend that I can say a few things on his behalf. And I think the first thing that he would do is turn to his wife, Kathy, and tell her how much he loved her. And I know he loved you, Kathy, because there was no one in my friend group that dated more in high school and college than my friend John Hatton. So I knew, after all that searching, that when he found you, you were the one. And then he would turn to his children and he would tell them how much he loved them. And I know he loved them because I could see the twinkle in his eye every time that he talked about them. And I could hear his love when he would pick up his guitar and sing with you. And I could feel his love when he would throw another log on that big fireplace of yours on a bitterly cold Minnesota night and welcome you closer for fellowship and conversation. And then he would turn to Jordan and welcome him into his family. And finally he would turn to Maren and tell her how beautiful she is tonight, how proud he is of her, and what a wonderful woman she has become. Now, I don't think it's an accident that the first miracle that the Gospels talk about Jesus was at the wedding of Cana. For weddings are the most important rituals that families do throughout everything else that they do. And I think that's because at the very beginning, two people come, Maren and Jordan. And at the end, we witness one new family, one unique us. And history tonight gives us a wonderful blank canvas that all of us here can document our hopes and our dreams for Maren and Jordan's wedding upon it. And we will fold that imaginary tapestry up tight and give it to them as our final gift. And that brings me back to that dusty playground of Adams Elementary School, almost 60 years ago now. And a cool breeze is blowing in the fall, blowing the dirt around. Children are standing waiting to go in the school. And a boy came up to me and said, "Hi, my name's John." And I said, "Oh, that's my name too." And we went into that schoolhouse together. And because of that 50-year friendship, Maren, I know that your father is spiritually with us here tonight. And he'll be watching, as will all of us here assembled, as that tapestry of your marriage gently unfolds over time. A toast to Maren and Jordan, everyone. May God bless both of you, and may God bless your exciting and wonderful new family, your new, unique us.
All right, I'm Jacob. I've known Maren all of her life. She might not remember the first few years because she was hitting the bottle pretty hard. All right. Okay, so they told me that I had 5 minutes up here. So I figured I'd just give them a good roast. However, a good roast needs to come from a place of love, or at least respect. so I will spare my dear sister the indignity. Jordan, on the other hand. When I heard that Maren was getting involved with an older man, I told myself I wasn't going to judge him out of hand. After all, there is a lot we can learn from the ancients. And Jordan certainly has a lot in common with them. For example, he's just as friendly as Diogenes. Nobody gets that one. He's got Chrysippus' sense of humor. You're lying if you laughed at that one. And he's got Socrates' good looks. Well, it's all Greek to me. Anyway, Jordan's a good guy. And I know that he loves Maren because after all she put him through, a lesser man would have certainly folded. And I know Maren loves him because for all of her flights of fancy, I don't see her pulling up her roots and moving to Indiana for just any Tom, Dick, and or Harry. Anyway, some kind of salient point to wrap this up. At the dawn of our lives, when we are born, we don't have a care in the world, and yet we can do little more than cry. With this, we mark the start of Maren and Jordan's new life together, and I see many here are doing the crying for them. Tears of joy, I hope. Today they marry as the best versions of themselves, and I know that they will only continue to flourish in this blessed union. That's all I got. I'd hate to go.
All right. Well, I kind of don't know what's going to happen here. I went to start writing my best man speech and realized Jordan has helped me write every single speech I've ever written. I honestly thought about calling you to have you help, and I was like, no, I can't. So, better or worse, wanted to say a few things about Jordan. First thing that comes to mind is your genuine care and concern for people. It's always been there. When we were kids, Jordan was about 4, I was about 7, and we were playing in the backyard, and I kind of fell off this tree and scraped my leg and decided to make a thing out of it. So I fell down and said, Jordan, I'm dying. I'm dying. Goodbye, brother. And Jordan's response was just to come up and kind of lay next to me and give me this big hug and say, please, Nate, don't die. Please, Nate, don't die. And it took me back with how sweet it was. And it was just like, oh man, I got him so good. He thinks I'm dying. And I don't think I've been hugged like that since. Jordan's never lost that heart though. If you're his friend, you know he cares about you. Jordan, you've shown me what it is to show up for other people. You've shown me what it is to honor people, to be loyal, to have a high view of friendship. You have a stubborn commitment to goodness and putting other people first. In short, you're a man of deep conviction, and yet you're safe. Aside from Dad, you're the best man I know. I love you, man. So there were a couple years where we didn't know if, Carolyn and I especially didn't know if Jordan was going to end up with somebody. Man, when is this going to happen? I'd be talking to Carolyn. Carolyn would get frustrated by it. She's like, he's such a good husband. Why is he letting this go to waste? And then in 2022, we started getting these calls. And the first one went kind of like this. Hey, man, kind of like this girl that I've known for a while. I'm thinking about asking her out. I have him on speakerphone, and Carolyn and I are like, awesome! that's cool, man. What's she like? And it's like, she's super great, she's cool, she loves music and books, and we've been talking a bit. I think I'm going to ask her out. I'm like, okay, keep me posted. And then a few weeks later, I get another call. Hey, man, we went out. I'm like, yeah? He goes, she said she just wants to be friends. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, man. He was like, yeah, but I told her, yeah, no big deal. I'm totally cool with that. And then we hung out for another 2 hours. And And I think she's into me now. What? So it goes back and forth like this for a while. A few months later, I get another call. Okay, dude, we're dating now. And I'm like, really? He goes, I don't know, actually. Can you hand the phone so that she can tell me what such and such means? But once they were together, and quickly, it was pretty clear you guys were meant for each other. So we got to meet Maren. You guys got engaged, got to meet Maren, and get to know you a little bit. And to you, Maren, I just want to say that our whole family has seen what Jordan sees in you. Couldn't be happier that Jordan found you. For the first time, I'm going to have a sister. I'm super excited about that. You're easygoing, you laugh easily, you're nurturing, you're authentically yourself, and you're a devoted friend. And I see the way you love Jordan. You already know this, but just take it from someone who's known him for 37 years. He'll be a safe place for you your whole marriage. He'll fight for you, he'll prefer you, and he'll put you first. If I have any advice, it would just be never ever wake him up from a nap. It's weird, he gets very angry, it's like waking up a bear. It's like, that's my only advice. We love you guys and couldn't be happier for you. So let's raise a toast to Jordan and Maren, otherwise known in our house as Uncle Barbecue and Aunt Bean. God bless you both as you begin your married life. May you have grace for each other and celebrate each other. When it's hard, may you remember what brought you together, and when it's good, enjoy it. Finally, have some kids and move to Iowa.
J Money, the gangster of love, Fat Bear. We've had quite a few different nicknames through the years for you, Jordan. One thing I always liked to do was just to call him by his first and middle name, Jordan Michael, to point out that unlike Michael Jordan, he was not good at basketball. To be fair, though, that pretty much encapsulates all of us. So, that's not just a him thing. When I was little, Jordan and I would watch Star Wars movies on AMC, and at every commercial, he'd pull out his red lightsaber and I'd pull out my green lightsaber, and we would fight till the next commercial, and I won every single time. And at the time, all I thought was, this guy really sucks at fighting with lightsabers. Why is he so bad at this? And then it took a little while till I was a bit older that I realized I was 8 years old and he was 16, and I had not won any of those fights with the lightsaber. It took a little while till I was older that I realized that he had friends who wanted to see him those nights, and he stayed home with his little brother because he needed a friend. Me, not him. It wasn't until I was a little older that I realized how much time he made for the people he loved, how much space he made for them to be themselves. Most of us are pretty lucky if we have a couple people in our lives who really think of us when we're not there, who can tell when we feel broken and before we even ask for something, be there to build us back up, who can be there in a way that only they can be there for us by thinking about us and by being thoughtful. And I was even luckier because mine was my first friend and my best friend and my big brother. Despite all that, I was hoping that he'd find somebody who'd give him a bit of crap. And I think we found that in Maren more than I could have hoped for after playing some Harry Potter board games. This last week and the other few times I've gotten to hang out with Maren, I've seen her be kind, I've seen her be witty, I've seen her be caring, I've seen her be competitive, and I've seen her be thoughtful, and I've seen her be caring towards my brother. And during an event like this, it's easy to get caught up in all of the logistics, and I was so impressed this whole week how much she prioritized her friends and her family, and how much she prioritized just being there with my brother and loving my brother. And that's, I think, what everybody's looking for at the end of the day, is somebody who prioritizes them like that. I don't have a whole lot of advice on love, but I will say if shared interests and passions are the spark of love, then respect and thoughtfulness are what feed that fire through the night. I'm so excited to see the Lord bring you closer together and closer to Him over that fire. So, Jordan Michael, You may not be very good at basketball, but I am so very, very proud to be your little brother. And I think we are all so very, very excited to see what you all do in this world, not as two, but as one. To Maren and Jordan. Cheers.
Try and compete with all of them. I just want to say that I'm profoundly grateful for two big things tonight. One of which is the privilege of watching and witnessing Jordan's life from the moment that he was born up until his new life starting today with his wife and beginning his family. And it's an interesting thing to look at your son and find that you not only have learned to love him and respect him, but in many ways to admire him. And that's what I find myself feeling towards you, Jordan. And it comes because of the man that you've become over the years and the way you've carried yourself and given yourself to God. And so I know I speak for Vicky as well as myself when I say that it is with profound joy that we look at celebrating the starting of your story together and your family together and you becoming the head of your household. The second thing I'm profoundly grateful for is looking out amongst all of you. There are so many people who have come from all over the country who've been here helping Vicky and I make this happen, who have given of themselves and cared for Jordan and for Maren in the process of making this celebration work. And that speaks to the idea that as you start your story, you don't do it alone. You're part of a larger family, a group of people who care for you and have your back. And as you go forward in what God gives you for your story, you're not alone in doing it. You have all of us. So having said that, to Maren and Jordan and their story.
Yeah. Cheers.
I'm not going to keep you guys long. I just wanted to, on behalf of both of us, say thank you so much for being here. I think from the first conversation we had about planning this wedding, it was down to just the people we wanted to be here. That was the most important thing to us. So you guys have made this so special for us. And we feel so loved, and I want to echo my dad with just all the people that are being played off, really. I just want to echo my dad to all the people who have been helping this week. I'm not even going to try to go through names because there's so many of you, and it's honestly blown us away. But you know who you are. We've seen you. We've felt incredibly loved by you, and thank you for that. So. Lastly, I want to say thank you to specifically Kathy and my parents, Mike and Vicky. We literally would not be here without you. So, that is true on 100 different levels. So thank you. And I really can't say it any more accurately or appropriately than that. Thank you. So, we got a couple of announcements, and then we'll keep the party going. So.